Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful wreath. It reminds me of sunshine. It reminds me of happiness. It's just I can't help but look at it and feel happy. But more importantly, this video and this tutorial is in honor of the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network. And what I am doing with this particular wreath, I will be auctioning off this wreath for the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network on March the 20th and 21st on my Facebook page. And every bit that comes in for this wreath will be given 100% to this great cause. I have a friend whose child has Down syndrome, and her name is Julia, and she is just the sunshine of my friend's life. And I want to help my friend get to a conference and get support. And this is what the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network does. They give support to parents who find out that their child is going to have Down syndrome and and they just are a great organization. I'm going to leave the link down below if you would like to donate anything to it, even if it's just a few dollars. Every little bit helps. So let's get started. We're going to use yellow poly burlap, this wonderful check yellow poly burlap, and some blue with this really pretty center in the middle. So if you're wondering where to get the supplies, I'll leave everything down below. Remember, I have affiliate links for the Wreath Shop and for trendytree.com, and I will leave my Amazon links as well. So let's get started and have some real fun making this beautiful wreath. Okay, so let's talk about the type of burlap we're going to use tonight. This is poly burlap mesh, and we are going to just use a simple 10-inch wreath frame. And then I'm going to use this check mesh here, and it's, as you can see, I've already fused it. We're going to be cutting our pieces together so that they fuse together like that. So as you can see, it's still pretty fused. You have to kind of tear it apart to get it apart there. But this is a check mesh that we're going to be using, and I'm going to be putting it over the blue. We're not going to be using a whole lot of this. I'm thinking maybe a half of a roll, so you would have enough to use on another project. But we're going to start our base with the yellow, and then we're going to use the yellow and blue together, and then we're going to finish with the blue. So this is all 10-inch mesh, but I just wanted to kind of go over exactly what we're going to use. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to cut our mesh, and we are just going to use the wood burner. I have this in my Amazon store along with the glass and the mat here. Everything that you see me using tool-wise, I'll have it there. So we're just going to cut it, and we're going to, I have marked off on my cutting mat is 10 inches. So we're going to just cut 10-inch wide petals for our wreath. So I'm going to cut at least 15 of the yellow, and then I'm going to take, for the second part I want to show you, I'm going to take the blue poly burlap 10 inches, and then I'm going to take this check poly burlap that has like the see-through, and we're going to lay the check mesh overneath, or above. Overneath isn't really a word, is it? That's another Julie word for you. We're going to fuse these pieces together. So what I find is sometimes these lines will line up, but sometimes they won't. So to get this first one fused, I'm going to just start out here, and I'm just going to go through here, and I'm going to try to make, I want to make that yellow look as straight as I can. So I'm not necessarily going in between the lines and the blue, okay? So we've got our finished fused there, okay? So it's fused together. So we're going to cut about 8 or 9 of these petals at 10 inches each. So I'm going to kind of stay here, and I'm going to try to stay as close to this line here. I'll show you what I mean. Gotta cut it again right there. Okay. So I wanted to stay close to that end of that section of poly burlap. So we've got these over here. So what I'm going to do to kind of clean this up, I'm going to cut in between here. So you're just going to cut at least 8 of these, maybe 9, And then I'm going to cut out 10-inch squares of just the blue by itself as well. So I will work on this and we will come back. Okay, so we're gonna get started. It's a 10-inch wreath frame. I put my plastic 5 mesh grid on here with little zip ties. And we are gonna use the yellow as our base of our petals here. So we are gonna work on bar 2, bar 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how we do it. And we are gonna work on doing just that basic petal fold that we do here. We just take our petal, make sure that the finished side is down here, finished side is on the top, we meet in the middle, we just gather, we flip it over, and we flip this one over on top of that bottom one a little bit. That's it. Very simple. And then I'm just going to take my frame here. You see where I've got my zip tie on that bracket, and we are just going to put it, would help if I have it turned the right way, and then we're just going to attach it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 1 on each of the brackets and 2 in between. So I'm gonna put 1 more here just to show you really quick. I have my zip tie waiting. Again, finished bottom, finished top, and then that way we have all of our petals going the right direction. We're gonna gather it, flip it over, form our petal, and then just set it on top of that frame and pull it, okay? And then I just take that underneath and go over top of that one. And that's it. So we're gonna have a total of 15 petals. I know this is kind of the boring part. You've seen this many, many times, but this is just kind of the basis for our wreath to make it really pretty. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so we've already had cut these pieces. Remember me showing this to you? Well, now they're already cut and they're ready to go for us to make our petal. And we're just going to do this daisy petal technique. And we're going to make sure, here's a little tip, we're going to make sure that the finished side is on the bottom right and the finished side is on the top left. So the bottom and the top, that's where we want it. We don't want it this way, okay? We want it this way. So I'm just going to cut a diagonal line all the way with my rotary cutter, okay? So then that way, when we form our petal, that finished line is always going to be on the right side, just so that we can keep it really uniform. So the colors that we're using today is Down syndrome awareness colors. And because we're making this wreath for an auction for the Down syndrome diagnosis network, this is going to be auctioned off, and 100% of whatever comes in will be going to that cause. I will even cover the shipping on this within the United States. So we're going to just gather it here, and we're just going to get our petals ready, okay? So that's just the daisy petal, and it's the Dean Michael petal that she came up with, oh, probably a year and a half ago or something like that. So we're just going to, I always like to pre-make these, get these ready, and then I like to put them all together on my wreath. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think I have 8, let's see, I think we have 8 of these cut out. So I'm going to make all of these. We might do a few more because I'm going to try to overlap these a little bit more than we normally do. But you're just going to take that triangle. And you know what? If you had big 21-inch, you could make some really big petals as well. So I'm going to get these prepped, and I'll be right back for the next step. Okay, so as you can see, I have the base of my flower here. And now I have all of these little daisy petals, and we are going to put them on the next layer. So we're going to work on row 3, and that would be bar 3. And I'm just going to start it in a way where I'm putting the zip tie on this bar, and then I'm just going to put the initial petal in. Okay. Now I'm going to put the next petal just directly next to it. All right, and so basically I just want to make sure that when I put it down, I have this finished edge over the unfinished edge. So I'm going to go kind of in a different direction than I normally do. And I think it really has to do with, you know, are you right-handed or left-handed? I think, you know, when you sit down and put down the petals, I think it's just kind of a whatever right hand or left hand, it's just kind of the way you work. So basically what I want to do is I want to overlap this one to that one so that we just have this look of overlapping. So we're going to go all the way around, and if we do it the same way we normally do it, it would be 15 petals, but we might end up putting a few more. So I'm just going to keep going this direction and see how it ends. But I think that just that little bit of blue peeking out with that yellow check is just going to be really pretty. So stay tuned and we'll keep going. Okay, so as you can see, I have different nail polish. I'm interrupting this video because I forgot to show you one important step, and that's how to fold the blue petal that we're going to use next on this flower. You're going to just take a 10-inch by 10-inch piece of blue or whatever color you want to use, and then I'm just going to make a triangle, and then we're just going to gather it at the bottom, and we're still making the same petal, but you're just going to be folding that over. So I interrupted this video, so let's get back to making this. For the center of our wreath, we're going to do the same type of petals. We're going to do that daisy petal technique, but we are going to do the same overlapping. So we're going to do, you know, in the past, I've shown you how to kind of spread them out a little bit more, but I really want you to overlap these petals to get the look that we're going for. So we're going to just take our zip tie, and this one will be, of course, going inside of the canvas that we put on our wreath. So let's see. So that's a good inch to maybe inch and a half in. So we're going to just place our first petal right here, and the center is going to be pretty tight. Okay, so there's petal number one. Okay, let's do petal number two. Again, I want that finished side to be the side that's most exposed. So I'm going to put my zip tie in right next to the other zip tie that I laid in, so that when I put this petal on, it's of course going over top. And I'm doing the blue because I want the center to be yellow, and I don't want to overpower this wreath with way too much yellow. So I thought that the blue petal would be a nice break in that. So I'm just going to keep continuing this process all the way until I get to the end there. So we're going to use this pre-made center just because I kind of feel like it really pops with that blue. There's a couple of centers you could really do. You could do the seeded center, and there's felt centers and rose centers, and there's just different things you can do. So I'm going to leave some links to some different videos below. So I'm just going to show you really quick how to do this. These generally cost about $3. This is a 7-inch center, and it might be like, yeah, it's right at 7 inches. You could use a bigger center if you wanted to. You could add another row of petals if you wanted a smaller center. It's just really up to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our wires here, and I'm going to just lay it across the back of my foam center here. I'm going to take some floral pins and just put it at an angle so it doesn't go all the way through on both sides here. All right, make sure it's so nothing came through there. And then I'm just going to take my glue gun, and I'm going to just take a piece of scrap felt, because I always have lots of felt laying around, and I'm going to put some glue over those pins just to kind of secure it some more. And then I'm going to just kind of lay it. I'm kind of making this as a little messy there. Okay, it's hot. And then just as an added measure, I always like to take some more pins and again go in at an angle, and it goes through that glue, and it's just going to help keep it secured. And I am using the Gorilla glue sticks. I really do like that brand. So all right, so we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to put it in the center of our wreath. So now we're ready to put the center in, and I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. I just think that this is really a pretty way to kind of use this check mesh. So if you have some of this, again, you don't have to use the poly burlap. You could use a deco mesh. Instead, you could use a deco mesh out here. But we're going to use this pre-made yellow center, and I just showed you how to put that all together. So I'm just going to take, and like I said, the center is going to be pretty tight. So we're going to have to go through some layers of this mesh, and I'm going to have to press this down pretty good. There we go. I got it. And then I'm going to find another spot here. Let's see here. There we go. And you're just going to attach that middle and just wrap it around, and just going to twist it really good. I'm pulling it down pretty good too. So as you can see, okay, so I will finish that in a minute, but I just kind of want to show you the finished product. I think it's really cute. I feel like it has a lot of sunshine. I feel like it's happy, and I'm going to leave the link for the Down syndrome diagnosis, I think I've been saying that wrong. Please forgive me. Network, Down syndrome diagnosis network. Again, I am not a professional in this at all, but I'm going to leave you my friend's link. And if you would like to donate, even if it was $5, this organization helps parents that find out that they're having a child with Down syndrome, and they help them they just help them learn what is life going to be like, what kind of support can they give them. And this is just a wonderful cause to give to. And if you know anybody with Down syndrome, they are a joy. They are an absolute joy to be around. And so I'm hoping that you will watch this video, that you might consider donating to this great cause. I will be auctioning off this wreath on March 20th and 21st of 2020. So if you watch this video later, unfortunately, the auction is over, but you can always still donate to a wonderful cause. So if you made it this far, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and make sure to join my wreath group called Wreath Creators and More. Even if you just like to craft in general, I want you to join. Follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, and we will see you next time on Julie's Wreath Boutique.